back for another Super Tuesday Black Lightning recap. Me and my co-host, I'm Shanna. I'm here with the doctor,
Hey,
D.
Mhm.
That's a great greeting for our audience. And Parrish.
What's up?
And we are here to talk about Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 8. I don't have it pulled up. I'm super on top of it. Um,
It's the
and
book of song.
it's the book of something, colon,
Book, Book
something
of
else.
Revelation. It's just the Book of Revelations.
Oh. No long ass title this week.
they're starting to adhere to the old Twitter rules.
Yeah, I'm like, this is somebody needed to put a character limit on them. So it's called the Book of Revelations. Um, it is quick synopsis, mainly about why am I forgetting Jefferson training Anissa while Lynn is trying to figure out exactly what's this connection between green light and the evidence that Anissa gave her from her grandfather's investigation.
And we can also say that I was right. Just say
I
it
was
now.
gonna I was
Just say it
gonna
now.
say that like, I mean, don't even give nobody no time to like give you your credit. I was gonna say you were right. We all thought that we weren't gonna get Jennifer getting her powers to the end of the season. They decided to bump up their timetable, I guess. So we
He
all.
slapped hard on his forehead. Oh,
So how did you feel about the episode, D?
I like the episode, although I'm still they straddled the line of explaining stuff and not explaining stuff and stuff like what the hell is Lala actually doing there? Because we still haven't that still hasn't been um, explained. They actually explained why um, basically what Mr. Esposito's background. I'll give him by his proper name. Uh, the suit man, what he and the ASA was, and I I actually liked that episode, but I don't know. It seemed less about family and more about being superheroes, and maybe that helped. I'm reluctant to say that, but maybe it helped.
See, I think it was the opposite, but we'll get into it a little bit more. Um, Doctor, what did you think about this week's episode?
Oh, I liked it. It was funny. I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but I was laughing. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate, the Gambi stuff coming out. I told you in our little group chat that I love the ASA guy, but I feel so bad for the actor because you said he was a sweetheart, but I'm like, he's always typecast as an asshole. As an evil asshole. Because he was an evil asshole on Scandal and a couple other shows I watch. And I'm like, he's
that's where
probably
I know
supposed
he
to. Huh?
Sorry,
He was
sorry.
the he
He
was
was
basically the Trump character on Scandal, the
yeah.
like GOP candidate. That's no, okay. I'm gonna give you more. I gotta look him up to find out exactly what he was on. He's
No,
been
no,
on a ton of stuff.
no. He yeah, that's where I knew. I was trying to figure out where I knew him from.
Hmm.
That's where I know him from.
Yeah, but he does tend to play assholes. He was also the thing I remember him most from is he was Logan's dad on Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
Okay. Just me. Okay. Because the whole thing was like Logan's character was like this rich, entitled guy, and then you meet his dad, and he's like even more rich, entitled guy, and then you figure out why like Logan's such an asshole because his dad is even more.
How do you make an entire career out of being a rich, entitled, racist white? Like,
It's
I mean,
like the dude from what's that show about the
Oh,
vampires, The Strain, that like always plays a Nazi, and he's like, "Can I please not play a Nazi anymore?" It's like, but dude, you really look like a Nazi, so.
did y'all ever watch? Did y'all ever watch Hell on Wheels?
Yes. I think I'm 2 episodes from finishing the series, and I probably won't finish the series. But yeah,
Okay, but he was Brigham Young.
yeah, he was. And he
Yeah.
was a dick in that.
Yep. Pretty much.
And again, I guess I don't have the benefit of being a white dude, but I'd be afraid that people would like cuss me out in the street.
Like he plays that a little too convincingly, you mean?
Yeah, just based on the roles that I play. Because I mean, if any of y'all are into soap operas, my mom was a big All My Children addict. People kind of lost that Susan Lucci like that perspective and thought she was Erica Kane.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just some actors that play roles a little too good, and then when you see them in something else, you have to catch yourself from punching the screen.
Right. Like I fucking hate you. I'm sorry.
Like you're probably a lovely person in person, but right now I just want to punch your face.
I was like that about what's my man Wendell Pierce. Like for a while, all he played was assholes, and I was like, man, I just can't stand this. I can't stand it.
And then you start seeing how woke he was. He's like, okay, Wendell, I see you.
Right.
He wasn't an asshole in Suits. He wasn't an asshole in Suits.
That was the old, but that was more recently. Up until recently, he's played assholes.
I just didn't watch The Wire. So.
For a while, every time I saw him, I thought about get on the bus, and I was like, I can't stand it.
Put your dick on him.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
What did you think of the episode?
I liked it. We got some answers. I'm really intrigued by the whole Gambi character at this point. I'm kind of a Gambi stan at this point.
Ship it.
Yeah, my only complaint is I got to dock the show. Whatever we come out with, I got to dock the show like half a letter grade because we didn't get any of Tobias Wells' Negro hating quotes. Because I'm ashamed to admit it, but I live for those quotes, man. Because I just, wow. My dude really hates black people.
He really does. I like it. I think I listened to you guys last week and I watched the episode last week. I think it had started to fall off from me a little bit, and I was kind of like, they started off so strong and now they're already kind of wavering. But this episode really brought it back for me, and I think part of it is kind of the opposite, where I felt like it was because they focused less on the superhero stuff and it was more about family. Like, even with the heroing, even with Jefferson training Anissa, it was really about their father-daughter relationship. And so I like that they focused on that again. And I really like that when Jennifer got her powers, the first person she went to was Anissa.
Yeah.
On a side note, that use of kung fu fighting was lazy.
Oh, I thought it was perfect.
That was lazy.
I feel like that, because what I love about this show is that they'll do the kind of just like the newer kind of urban thing, but then they always throw in kind of like an old funk song or like kind of just like an old school song in the background. So I like that they started with kung fu fighting.
Yeah, exploitation. I can appreciate that. I love it every time they do that.
Yeah. Given that we got that god awful God Holly song in the club, I'll take that use of. I'll take any song. I don't care if it was ill used.
Kung Fu. I'm not saying Kung Fu Fighting is a bad song. I'm just saying the use of that song then was just. I don't know. I couldn't think of a better song to use, but I just felt that was lazy.
I thought it was hilarious.
What I'm saying is, I was so disturbed by the God Holly song, I didn't even pay attention to the placement of it. I was just like, okay, thank you, palate cleanser, thank you. Okay, maybe not usable. I don't care.
My question is God Holly related to a producer or something on the show? Is he somebody's cousin or nephew?
He blackmailing, man.
Why did they decide that God Holly was going to be the Kendrick Lamar of the Black Lightning universe? That he was going to do the whole soundtrack?
I have no idea who y'all talking about.
The guy that was in the club when Latavius came through, he's like, "Oh, we thought you was dead."
So his name is God Holly, and the
only reason I know that is because I had the captions on and it said God Holly says. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known his name.
No, he says his name in the song. He's like, God Holly.
Look, listen to me. I have no idea who y'all talking about.
Are
You
you?
don't remember the club scene?
Nah, I no.
He's
You
blocked
know
it
what
out.
it was?
He's
Okay,
blocked
he's
it out.
Your
blacked
mind,
it out of his mind.
that's what I was going to say. Your mind protected you.
I have.
It blacked that out.
Also,
Yeah.
I should just
I
like.
don't know what y'all talking about. Can we move on now?
Oh no, because you know I'm finding that song and putting it. I'm slapping it on this.
I already told you I hate you, right? So I mean, I don't know how much further I could go with that.
I'm just saying, I'm slapping it on here. Yeah, I don't understand why they decided he's the Kendrick Lamar of all people. It's like, and y'all know, I love that Black Lightning theme song because I just think it's so cheesy that it like comes back around to being good. But
Don't. Stop telling that lie.
it
Yo,
does
this
for
family
me.
got joke.
But at the same time, it's like that's it. That's my one. That I don't need any more than that. And I don't know why they think we want all the God Holly all the time. It's
Look,
so
I was on
ridiculous.
that boat in the beginning, if y'all recall. But the reason why was because I think as an intro and an outro, it's kind of hot. But once you start hearing more than like Black Lightning is back, and you start hearing actual lyrics.
You mean the things that make up songs?
Yes.
I just need the iTunes clip. That's all I need.
But it's also like, because I'm not
When I
gonna lie,
actually
every time I hear it, the theme song,
hate
I post that gif of Winston from New Girl where he's like dancing with the champagne, because that's what I do every single time it comes on. I'm like, last night I saw a superhero, he was black. I'm like, yes, get it.
I swear, I'm not doing this no more.
But it's
Doing
so
this no
bad.
more.
But it's also my jam.
So let's see. Questionable music taste. Don't take her to weddings. No knives or psychopaths around
I love
children.
it.
The list is just growing, Shanna. It's just
Oh,
growing.
I just love it. I just do. Like, but
gotta
other than
think.
that, I don't need any more.
Lord.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So, daddy daughter daycare. Uh, Jefferson is training Anissa. I love. Do you think Jefferson doesn't wear the suit because, like, he's training, so he's in his sweats, or is it like, in solidarity because Anissa doesn't have a suit yet, and he doesn't want her to wear that god awful suit that she put together?
I gotta imagine that shit is heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look like, how some superhero suits, it's like, okay, this is really cool, but it looks flexible and, it looks like it breathes. I just have a feeling that, like, he's tired at the end of the night and he needs to take a shower.
You don't think it's made of sweat wicking material?
It looks heavy, yo.
We are horrible. That we are horrible. We are just mean. Jefferson trading Anissa and basically using the whole entire time to give her these MLK light speeches about the importance of like being safe and not hurting anybody. And then he goes ahead and almost gets himself blown up. Jefferson, like, what's going on?
Look, I'm gonna be 100% real, okay?
Mm.
If I saw a dude wearing a Confederate flag, I'm just saying. I know it's a simulation. That would actually encourage me. You got to give her that one.
I thought it was
I
like
didn't
it.
have a problem with it. That's just me.
No, to me, it was like the Men in Black scene
Yeah.
when Will Smith shoots the little girl holding the biology textbook.
I love that scene, by the way. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Like, why is this little white girl
Like
walking around in the
running
middle of
around
in the alley in the middle of the night?
with this textbook that's 12 grade levels above her age?
That whole scene was hilarious.
I'm telling you. It was that where he was trying to teach her a lesson. I appreciated it.
I don't care.
But I hate the way Jefferson lectures. He's so self-righteous.
I just want to stick a sock in his mouth sometimes. I'm like, dude, okay, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
You know
like
what? You know why okay, here's the thing. With Jefferson, it was Jesus Christ. My dad used to do that. I didn't mind it with my dad because I wasn't the subject of said lectures. But when my brother used to get in trouble, I remember one time, I forgot what my brother did. My father had him downstairs, and I couldn't come downstairs because he was lecturing him, and it went on for like a full 8 hours. It's like a full-time job. And I'm just like, dang, ain't he tired? Don't he need a break? That's what Jefferson reminds me of. That parent that will talk you to death to the point where you're like, can you please just beat me? Can you just beat me? Can we just get this over with? Just beat me, shit.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel. That is, I'm like, just tell her she can't be a superhero. My God, do we have to sit through this? This is ridiculous. Like, just say no. Like, so ridiculous. This is so extra. Oh, he drives me crazy.
Was he the dude that shot the cop, like in his simulation with Gambi?
Mhm.
I'm just saying.
Well, that was okay. To be fair to Jefferson, that was him trying to fine tune the accuracy of the streams. That wasn't so much him training to shoot in general, but they gave him that ability to kind of fine tune his electrical streams, and that was him trying to fine tune it. So it was more lack of control as opposed to I'm targeting this cop. Although if he was, no, sorry.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, okay.
No, let me walk that back. I don't believe in targeting cops. Let the record show. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, none of us need to be on a watch list or anything. So
Okay. I think my problem today is that I made the mistake of watching that Breakfast Club episode.
Okay.
Now I'm in apology mode.
Yeah, because this could go off the rails real quick. Let's get back to Black Lightning.
Okay, so my thing though is that Jefferson. So at the end, when they call in the body to Henderson, and then they go to him, and then they wait for the cop to show up, and the cop shows up. Why do you think he was sent out there without knowing what he was gonna find? Because like my interpretation was that Jefferson and Anissa say that he must have intercepted the call or intercepted whoever Henderson sent out there to actually investigate. Why would Tobias or whoever send him out there to go collect the body without telling them, like, hey, there's this gun that could kill you?
Because I don't think he was sent out there to collect the body. I think he was sent to trigger whatever mechanism caused it to explode. So they give evidence, since they were trying to really pin this on Black Lightning.
Exactly.
Oh, so is that evidence destroyed?
Yeah, it wasn't a nuclear blast, everybody would be dead. But there was just a hole in the ground when they went back.
Oh, and they didn't save the guy. She
No.
just saved her dad. Oh. I don't think I got all that. Sorry. Thank you for that clarification.
I'm like, she sounds really amazed. I can't tell if she's being sarcastic.
No, I'm like, legit. Like, I'm like, I hadn't thought of that. Because I was just confused. I was like, they sent my mans out there. They didn't tell him what he was going to find.
I know I'm feeling all triumphant because I got into my pose tonight, but my Lord, I'm like, am I a little loopy or is she being sarcastic? What's happening?
No, I legit didn't understand that. Hey, sometimes I miss things. I don't know what to tell you. It's been a long week. Daylight savings time's got me all messed up. So, anything else about Anissa and Jefferson?
The fact that he was so hype in the telling of the story, and I'm like, Jefferson, darling, read the room. Lynn is not happy with how you're telling about how you almost got blown up and then how you almost got her baby blown up. Can we Can we read the room, Jefferson?
I love it because Jefferson had that proud face, which was the same face that he had when Anissa was telling Henderson that he was a coon.
That's the same face when his youngest daughter kicked that girl's ass.
Yes, exactly. Jefferson does not know how to read the room because he's always making that face like, yeah, that's my baby girl. And I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be that excited. Oh, yeah, that it was really messed up. Sorry, I just saw something that made my eyes bug out.
God.
Yeah, but you took the scene right out of my mouth. That was the only other one I was gonna mention. I was like, yo, he's a little too hype for this here. Like, I don't.
And, and Lynn was looking like, this motherfucker just don't get it. Like, if she was a violent woman, she would have slapped the taste out of his mouth. Like, you did what to my baby? When? What?
But I
And
don't. Sometimes don't. I do feel like I need Lynn to not because she also does the thing where she was the one who told him, yeah, you should train Anissa because otherwise she's going to go out and do this anyway without you. So it's like you can't have it both ways. Like you want him to train Anissa because, well, then, yeah, they're going to bond over it. Yes, they are going to find themselves in dangerous situations. Like, I don't know. Like, I get it because there is like this, no matter how much you say you're cool with it, there is always going to be like a little bit of hesitance. But, girl, like, I don't know what to tell you. You have to work through that with your therapist. It's just not nothing you can do about it, really. So yeah, I think she frustrates me a little bit with that.
What did you all think about the scene with the wall where he asked her how much force did it take to destroy the wall, and then she tapped the wall with her finger, and then what did you all think about that scene?
I was fine with it because he's right. She's been behaving like a blunt instrument, and him trying to get her to behave in a more precise fashion made perfect sense to me.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I want her to do more of that, testing her powers, but not testing it like, let me see how like far I can blast this thing out of the sky. Instead, like work your way up. Like start with how much power do you have in, yeah, like how she did, how much power is in just your finger and not your fist.
Mm-hmm.
I wish she
And
did more
is
of that.
that power enough to get the job done? You don't have to like go all out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because she keeps doing the thing where she does this big thing and then she's like, oh shit, I nearly killed somebody, I nearly concussed them. And I'm like, well, nobody told you to go hard in the paint. You don't know how strong you are. It's, when people say, oh, I didn't know my own strength, she literally doesn't know her own strength, but she
And I guess
keeps using the maximum amount of it.
and I guess maybe that's where, like, I mean, I was fine with the scene, but the thought just occurred to me for a second, like, after the number of times that she's had with like coming to that realization that she doesn't know her own strength, like, wouldn't she start to do that on her own?
Apparently not.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and this is a little. It's funny because I feel like when
Not
the
very
show started,
clear.
she was characterized as like the smart one, the level-headed one. But ever
Bingo.
since she's gotten her powers, it's been all off the rails.
Bingo.
She's acting like a typical 23-year-old.
Well, here's the thing. I never got the sense that she was self-aware. She's always been aware of of the world around her. I never got the sense that she was self-aware, so it doesn't bother me that she's been characterized this way, especially now that she does have powers.
I
Okay.
think I mean it more as in the first episode or so, they were definitely juxtaposing her against Jennifer. And you got the idea that Jennifer is the fast one. She's the, doesn't think things through. She's, just trying to party with the wretched and have big fun times. And then, and this is
She's
the
more.
graduate and the med student, and she's the Harriet Tubman. So you got kind of the impression that Anissa was the logical one, except for the fact that she just kind of, when it comes to justice, she's very runs in head first.
Yeah, and see, I didn't get that sense. I got the sense that she was the more mature one, but you have mature people who are still not self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that helps me actually because like now I'm thinking of her more like I'm a big Peanuts fan. I'm starting to picture her more like Linus, who is like is the person that has like the perspective for everyone else, but he walks around with a security blanket. And he sucks. Yeah, so yeah, okay.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess so. I hadn't really thought about it, but I was just like, I could see that. Lynn. So Lynn gets back to she's clean. Well, she makes Jennifer basically be her slave labor because Jennifer still hasn't found an after school activity to replace track, and they're cleaning her lab after the break-in, and then she finally realizes that all of the green light stuff is gone.
Okay, so Doc, so without this is sort of your wheelhouse.
It is.
I think.
Okay,
I'm not.
continue.
I'm not putting your name out there, but this is you're kind of okay. How realistic was the lab work?
Oh, I'm not a medical doctor, love.
No, no. I thought, but
You're thinking Koki.
okay. I guess I actually thought you did have actual like research lab experience.
No, I'm a social science. My PhD is in social science.
Okay, then I was way
Can
off. Never
can
mind
I
it.
just say that after watching 14 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, I think it's very
Damn.
accurate.
Damn. Wait, it's been on that long?
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I said.
Seriously?
Yes.
That show has been on since well before my wife and I got married. And
That
yeah.
show has that show is as old as my youngest child.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, that show is exactly as old as
Just saying. Been watching it for years.
Yeah.
No, I think I thought it was pretty accurate in the fact that she was like, I'm behind, so there's a good chance that I still have some of these samples around.
Okay, so
Because that always happens.
one thing I'll call bullshit on is like I don't understand why you would have the backup for all of your research on a partition on the same device.
Yeah.
You can have a restore on a partition, which is something that computer companies commonly do. Like instead of sending you restore disks, they'll put it on a partition on the same hard drive. But why would you put a backup on the same hard drive that you're backing up? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And yet I believe that's the way my institution has ours set up because our IT.
I was just
I have a
trying
joke
to
about that, but I'll make it offline.
I'm not sure, but
We have an institution in common, remember?
I know, and that's why I'm like, I think that's how ours is set up. And now that you said that, I'm like, ooh, that's not going to end well.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm glad that Lynn, like I said, I've been saying since the beginning, I'm glad they brought her in on the medical stuff. I love that she found out about Gambi, straight up showed up at Gambi's place of business, just like Monica and the Boy Is Mine video, ready to fight. I loved it.
Look, yes, I appreciate her calling him out. Like, wait, I can do the math. Your ass was here, and you had something to do with it.
I
don't think she came ready to fight. She just
don't mean like
shifted into
literally.
fight mode.
No, I don't mean like
No,
literally
I know
ready to
what you
fight,
mean.
but I
I
mean
know.
like she sauntered in there, like. Like we about to have it out. I know some things. So I just loved it. And I love that this isn't dragged out over episodes.
Mm-hmm.
She found
Yeah.
out, and then by the end of the episode, Jefferson knew.
Okay, and so can we go ahead and jump into that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so buttons. The only gripe, it's minor, but it's also a CW writing thing. For her to say, like, you need to talk to him. Well, what did he say? You need to talk. Okay, he didn't tell me anything, but I did the math, and he know more than he letting on. You need to get the rest of them out of him. Instead, no, you just need to talk to him. You just need to talk to him. About what? What the fuck is he talking to him about? Can you at least be that specific?
That's not even a CW writing thing. That's a TV writing thing. I swear every show is like that. If this was a soap opera, what would have happened was Gambi would have been on his way to tell Jefferson, and then he would have got hit by a car and ended up in a coma somewhere.
But you know what? That's why I'll allow this, right? Because I think it's the doctor with her damn shipping that I just kind of interpreted it as
this is a lover squirrel. I'm not gonna get in the middle of it.
No, but then, in addition to that, Lynn was dry snitching. That's what that was. So I was like, okay, she's throwing her, because Gambi was like, yeah, I've been meaning to talk to Jefferson about this. And she was like, in the back of her head, well, let me.
Sounds like the president.
Yeah, because I hate that they always do that thing too, where the person is like, well, if you don't tell them, I will. But then the person never does. It's like, I'm gonna force you to do like an ultimatum, and then the person still doesn't tell them, and then it drags on for like another season and a half before somebody finally finds out. I watch a lot of soap opera-y type shows.
I just accepted it as like soap opera type pettiness.
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
was fine for me.
Like, you need to tell him. But I love that Gambi came out and said it. What I really liked about it was the revelation, because again, if we're going to larger themes, this whole revelation that Freeland is one big experiment.
Oh, and I was like, that triggered me.
Yeah, because it's totally, like, this is totally Tuskegee Experiments, all of that.
All over again.
The only thing, my only thought about that is I'm a little nervous about how the show will actually handle this. Like, I can see this becoming something, I think really like profound and poignant, but it's the CW.
And they've been beating us about the head with messages. So
that's my thing. So I really like that they didn't in this episode. I was afraid that Gambi was going to say that to her, and then she was going to be like the Tuskegee experiment, like they were really going to spell it out.
Right.
And
those are you in the cheat sheets.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, things for you white folks to Google tonight. I felt they got it enough to know that their audience would know what they were referring to without them having to say it. Now, if this continues going into next week and all that other stuff, I don't know if I trust them to not be like, or have Jefferson give some big speech.
You know when it's going to come up? Probably at the end of the season as a closer, like, and yes, our town was done this way. And it harkens back to the experiments of the old time.
A flashback.
We shall rise.
Yeah.
It's going to be him.
And now we have to come together.
And Tobias is going to say something ignorant, and I'm going to yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because the thing that strikes me, and I guess like we live in a post Black Panther reality, right? So I think in the beginning, like, we were all hyped about Black Lightning because it was black as hell, but Black Panther was black as hell and didn't feel like it needed to explain our blackness to anybody, right? Yeah. Because Black Lightning is on CW. I get it. I don't know if it's just I'm comparing this show to Black Panther, which, I mean, obviously I am, because you can't help it because that movie was so amazing. But I don't know if I feel a little nervous that, like you said, at some point we got to backtrack and explain it. For lack of a better way of saying it, we got to back up and explain it for these white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get it. CW is what it is, but it just makes me nervous.
Yeah, I really hope that it doesn't become like this whole preachy thing. I immediately got it when he said the vaccines and this whole experiment that is Freeland. I was like, oh, this is totally Tuskegee. This is totally big, like pharmaceutical companies or big shadowy organizations taking advantage of Black communities. My question is, do you think it was really a vaccine and like it was a vaccine with side effects, or do you think it was always some sort of drug?
I feel like it was always some sort of drug, but Gambi was told it was a vaccine.
Yeah.
So I feel like that organization probably compartmentalizes its folks.
Mm-hmm.
So not everyone knows what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
I honestly feel, and maybe I'm wrong, I honestly feel like Gambi didn't even realize that Lady Eve was in the meta making business until that dude told him.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm wondering too, okay, but if Gambi was just this doctor, this scientist doing research, why is he also he seems like a spy.
I don't think that he was a scientist.
No.
Yeah, he seemed like just, I don't know.
I feel like they say, I feel like he was there to monitor, not necessarily to conduct.
And to protect the experiment.
Right. And when he realized what was happening, he kind of...
But my thing is, you're there to protect the experiment, and you think it's just vaccines?
He's getting paid.
And the question becomes, is this the show writing us it's one good white character? Because we can't stand the idea that there are no good white characters in the universe.
Well, I mean, I think the other part of it is that, like, he's paid to do a certain thing. Yeah. And, I mean, I hate to be this way, but a lot of us don't think about the whole of the organization that we work for.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
We worry about what we need to do. And if our paycheck is going to come on payday. So, I mean, I can kind of see it. I see what you're saying about having like the great white hope on a show, but I can also see it like he's just a company man, and at some point he realized he had a crisis of conscience about it.
Yeah. I'm more comfortable with it being that than it being, oh, I was blameless. Once I realized I did the right thing. No.
Right.
And I don't feel like they wrote it that way, but I could see, it's kind of like folks were saying, oh, Ross is the unsung hero in Black Panther. It's like, no, he wasn't.
Yeah.
There was an article right after that movie came out talking about how he was an unsung hero.
Because his ass.
Even though he was under Shuri's direction.
See, if I read that article, I'd have gone the fuck off. Because see, I read the comic books. So, like, I am predisposed to hate Ross. Okay, so, anyway.
Has Ross always been that annoying dude, even in other runs outside of Christopher Priestess?
He was introduced in Priest, and he appears in Hutland as sort of an informant, because the U.S. was trying to figure out what the hell to do with Wakanda. It's like if you watch, we're going way off the rails, but there was a short of cartoons that BET did.
Mm-hmm. It's streaming now on BET. They re-released it because they were like, we trying to get these Black Panther coins too.
That's basically the first story arc for the Hutland run, and Ross is a part of it.
Yeah, like so he's like almost the point of view character to bring you into the story,
which is what he was in the Priest run. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
sorry, to distract.
Yeah, so I don't know if I necessarily believe Gambi's story is what I'm saying, because I don't necessarily believe that he was just some guy conducting trials, because also it's when he came to town, it was as a tailor. Lynn put it together that his shop opened around the same time.
That was his cover.
Exactly. So that's my
Right.
thing. Spies need cover, not people just doing
Their job.
vaccine trials. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I don't know if I fully believe what Gambi said to Jefferson.
But I mean, I just think that, I mean, there's something.
Okay, so I believe. I'm sorry. I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just think that like there's a potential to get really, really kind of. There's a potential to go there with this story, right? Because if you're running an experiment to create metahumans and you're using the black community, just knowing how we're over policed, the rationale for killing us, like you're using a population that is generally considered disposable, and is generally considered disposable because they think we're fucking superhuman. Like,
Yeah.
but will this show actually go there?
I'm hoping
Yeah.
it does.
But see, they weren't really running an experiment to create metas that just happened.
No, well,
That's
see, that's what Gambi says, and that's why I'm
Okay,
saying
yeah.
I don't
See,
necessarily believe Gambi, because he said we were
especially
looking for a vaccine, and
I,
instead we started creating metas and hurting children.
the only thing I believe that Gambi said, and I love me some Gambi. The only thing I believe that Gambi said was that everything he did once he realized what the children were being harmed was done to protect as many people as he could. And then after Jefferson's father died, I believe that he does love Jefferson. I'm not even talking the ship thing. I believe that he has a father's love for Jefferson and is dedicated to keeping Jefferson alive. That part, absolutely believe.
And I believe that Gambi believes what he's saying.
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Huh?
okay.
That's
So
interesting. What do you mean by that?
I
go
believe.
ahead.
I believe he actually believes his story. I actually think that he thinks that the whole point was to create a vaccine and that it was an unforeseen anomaly. Because the way that he looked when he told this story, he was like, I became a whistleblower because this is not what I signed up for. I believe that he believes that there was some righteous intention, and that he learned that it was not exactly what it was. So he could have been, I mean, I think more than one thing can be true at the same time, right? It could be that they devised this purposely to create metas, to experiment. He was brought in to do a job. He did his job. He just, whatever they told him it was, he was like, okay, fuck it. I mean, does the check clear? And then he actually realized what was happening, and he had a crisis of conscience. I don't think that there's anything contradictory about that.
I just don't believe that you are some sort of. I don't think Gambi is like a security guard at Cord Industries, for instance. He is
Okay.
highly skilled and trained. So I think he might have thought that whatever they were doing was altruistic, but I don't think he thought that they were just making vaccines. Because why do they need you? Like you apparently are killing people with guns and like doing all sorts of sharpshooting and all this other stuff, and so I don't necessarily believe that.
Okay.
I
So see,
believe I believe he thought he was doing a good job, but I don't think he he believed that all they were doing was making vaccines.
but
Okay. So
again, he could be just being, there's that whole mentality of I'm following orders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
I think Gambi is kind of like a soldier.
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they don't really think about necessarily. They just follow orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
So
command.
to be honest, I think Gambi's story isn't that necessarily far off because okay, think of
I don't
this
think it's
from
that far off either. I think
like
he's still tweaking some things for
yeah,
Jefferson.
but if you are the ASA, why would you create metas?
In an
Because
undesirable community.
in
Yeah.
an undesirable community and
I
knowing
do
they're
think
not, they're
creating the metas
very
was a mistake. I just don't think that
Hold on,
they
Shin.
were. I'm sorry.
Let him finish. Go ahead, D.
yeah. I mean they're they can be they're not going to react necessarily the way you want to. Maybe they have some, rise up and fight the man sort of mentality with these powers.
Yeah, but see, that's the reason why I think that they would do it, right? Because it's excuse me, they're a disposable community to these people. I mean, listen to the way that my man from Scandal talked about the community. Yeah. Like, thoroughly believed that they were a disposable community that had like no redeeming value whatsoever. And so you're going to create metas in a community that you think is disposable, that you already know is over policed. Like, there's your fail safe right there. If a person becomes a metahuman and they act a little too far out, you get a little too far out of pocket, the police will come and shoot his ass.
That's true. I don't think that they were intending to create metas. I think they were definitely intending to experiment on people. To what end, I don't know. But I don't think they were intending to create metas.
I think it was to create metas.
I just don't.
We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
This show has shown they will not just leave things unexplained.
Yeah. And then also, I guess my thing too is, so the vaccine is the same as green light, which they're trying to flood the streets with green light. And so I guess, like you're saying, it's like, why would you want to turn it into a drug? It seems like they are trying to like create these super powered people. Why would you want a bunch of people addicted to this drug that just makes you go insane? Like, you're not controllable.
Well, maybe they have a way of controlling them that we just don't know about yet.
But then also, even that, it's like, even if you can control them, you want to be selective. You don't want to just have any old. Then you got homeboy, what's his name? I don't even, Bernard. Well, the kid who went crazy on Jefferson
and beat the hell out of his dad.
Yeah. Like, that's not what you don't want. Like 1,000 people on the street just completely uncontrollable.
Like, I can spitball this, and I am, because like I have no knowledge of DC Comics at all, but I can see a scenario where you would want to do that, right? Because what if you actually do have a way to create metahumans? What if your objective is to create an army of metahumans, or either for military purposes or for law enforcement purposes? Mm-hmm. So the way to justify that is to kind of you're basically creating an arms race. You're generating demand for this by flooding the streets with a drug that would create metahumans. So then you can go back and say, you see what's going on in these streets? These people are out of control. I have this program to make super cops.
Okay.
So I'm saying, like, there's
a lot of potential for story.
Yeah, but it's CW, and I don't know if they'll go there.
That's true.
But like creating a superhuman arms race is like, that's as old as comic books itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, it made me think of the Sam Wilson Captain America storyline with the super cops and all that kind of thing. Yeah, that could be really interesting to talk about cops. I mean, and they've already kind of touched on it with the people going crazy on green light. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for story. I just don't know how much we're going to get, because what is it, like 5 episodes left now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the MCU. I mean, if you really pay attention to the MCU, most of the people who have superhuman powers, who are not like gods or got it from some sort of supernatural means, you can trace their powers back to somebody's attempt to recreate the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can trace Spider-Man back. You can trace
same with Jessica Jones and
Luke Cage, the Incredible Hulk. Bruce Banner was trying to create the super soldier serum.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, it's as old as comics itself. I just don't know if I don't know if CW can do. I don't know if they're that sharp.
True. I hope so, because there's a lot to mine with it. I have liked, other than the green light theme song, I have really liked this whole green light story because I think it's really interesting.
Like green.
Uh,
Ah,
so
I just caught that shade.
I mean, I did put it at the end of the other episode, but still. Yeah. Either way, I still think Gambi lying because he's a lying liar who lies, and he don't tell the whole truth. He tells the parts of the truth that benefit him.
he's hiding something.
Yeah,
I in everything. What are we talking about?
I mean,
Wait,
yeah, he's
this is
probably
Shade.
hiding something. I just am not entirely sure that it's going to be this big reveal, though.
I was just going to shift the conversation because we could be on this all night, and we don't have all night. Before we get into Latavius' story, the only thing I did not like that kind of downed the episode for me too. I don't.
I think I know what you're about to say. Go
I
ahead.
don't like the way they are portraying black people as so damn fickle and stupid. Like the man on the street interviews, there was no nuance to any of that. Like, oh, okay. Have any
But
of you
to
watched?
me, that's not like a,
Let me finish. Let
okay.
me finish. Have any of you watched Dollhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay,
I
you
haven't.
remember season 1, Man on the Street, where they were going around asking people, "Does the dollhouse exist?" And you had this wide variety of interviews. It was Don Lemon, as a matter of fact. You had this wide variety of interviews from people being like, "Oh, I do it," or "Oh, that's stupid," and the black woman is like, you don't volunteer to be a slave unless you already is one. Volunteer. You out your fucking mind. But the point of that is that there was a variety of viewpoints amongst all these people. Whereas in the interviews, Man on the Street, that they did in this episode, all the black people automatically believed that Black Lightning had killed Lady Eve and that he needed to go to jail. He can go back to where he came from. When just a week ago, like, oh, thank God he's back and he helped us. And it's like, I don't like that they portrayed black people as so simple-minded and stupid. I did not like it.
I don't
I don't
like
think it was a black thing. Because I feel like they do that. They do the same thing on like Arrow, where like one week everybody's like,
Get
"Arrow's the
that.
hero. He's the best. We love
No, I get
him."
that.
And
I get that.
then
They can do that on Arrow. I don't care about Arrow. I'm talking about this show with these black people. It
thank
bothers me.
yeah,
thank
I think it comes off that way because clearly their neighborhood is black, so they only show the black people that they interviewed in these man on the street things. But I think that's more of a CW hero thing. It's like
see
one week we all love the Flash, and then like the Flash does one thing, and it's like the Flash is out here messing up, like, and now everybody hates this Flash for a week, unless it's a
But
whole
the show,
thing where the city is getting behind, the Flash or the Arrow, and then it's like he saves us every week, and it's like, yeah, but last week y'all was talking about how y'all didn't like him, like,
and I get
yes.
all that.
I'll split the difference.
Given I get all that, but given that these are black showrunners, I'm taking issue.
Right. I'll split the difference and say that it seems like it's very much CW writing, but like, I mean, y'all know black people. Like we have an innate distrust for like the media in general anyway. So like for that to be like, I
We
I
might
think
not like your ass. We not telling everybody that.
right, and especially like the way that we have been portrayed as villains in the past anyway. Somebody could be just fine, in our community, but because they're fine in our community, they're portrayed as villains. Like, I can't believe that. The one thing that black people do have is like a kind of a long view of history. And that just kind of bothers me a little bit. That I think you're right, Doc. Like portraying black people as that fickle and that subject to the way that the media portrays somebody just is it doesn't settle. It doesn't sit right with me.
It honestly just didn't bother. Like I didn't think of it at all. Jennifer, let's do you want to save Jennifer for the end, or do you want to just get her out of the way now?
I really want to talk about Latavius because he was hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, do we want to talk about Latavius first and save Jennifer for the end?
Sure.
So, if we're going to talk about Latavius, the thing that I thought you were going to bring up, Doc, was the shower scene.
Okay.
We get there.
So I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. I was watching this this morning, and my roommate, who has not watched an episode of Black Lightning yet, she mostly watches anime. I forgive her. She happened to like come into the kitchen when that part came on, and she's like, ooh, what's happening here? Ooh, and I'm like, no, I'm like, so she's a ghost and he killed her. And and she was like, wait, were they dating before she turned into a ghost and he killed her? I was like, no. I was like, I don't know why this is happening. She was like, clearly I walked in on the wrong part. I should watch this from the beginning.
Yeah, I felt really.
Like they walked in on the wrong part.
Yes, exactly. I was like, I'm like, same. I feel like I should not be watching this. Like, I feel like I am not authorized to see this.
Yeah, I felt really icky watching that.
So what I liked initially. Okay, I'm gonna go back. What I liked initially is I liked the thought of her haunting him. But then I realized that it is just his voice in his head manifesting as her. Am I wrong?
Which is kind of the cheap out.
Not.
I don't know. At this point, I don't know what's going on. I know that conversation in the car, though, was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
Because the man in the front was like, did he just mention shooting me? What? What's happening?
I'm like, and this is not helping the situation because they're already probably thinking like, ooh, how do it, like, he just came back. We were trying to get rid of him. And then now on top of it, he's acting crazy and talking about killing us.
Okay, here's my question.
Shout out to those actors because their eye acting was everything. Shout out to them.
Oh, look, I'm gonna say it. Only black people could do that. those were black eyes.
Here's my question. So I know Tobias has a lot of people everywhere, but how does Lala die and nobody knows about it? Or the public doesn't know about it?
No, I think they do. Everybody thought he was dead.
Yeah,
everyone thought he was gone. I don't know if they thought he was necessarily dead. They don't know.
I thought they thought he was dead.
I think they thought he was dead, and when he was standing. Do you stand in front of a person who has killed a woman in your face and say, "Yeah, dude, we thought you were dead"?
Plus, the other thing is, like, your mind would try to make an excuse for the fact that this motherfucker is standing right in front of you.
Well, because they killed him in the police station, so I was assuming that. Did they find his dead body in the police station, or did Tobias take it?
Or did he give it to Eve?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Because it could just be that, you know, he went missing from the police station and Tobias told everybody, yeah, we killed him.
But even still, like, even if you heard the rumor that, you know, Latavius was dead, if he's standing right in front of you, you're just going to be like, yeah, dudes was just talking shit and they didn't know what they was talking about. Like, I'm not gonna believe that he came back from the dead.
That man is not saved. Even if I did believe it, I'm not gonna say shit to him about it. Because like I said, he killed my mother no.
Because if he did in fact come back from the dead, that's a dude I don't want to mess with.
He was crazy before he died.
Right.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out two things. I'm trying to figure out the tattoo. Like, what does that mean?
Like, is it even real at this
Is it
point?
even real? Is he seeing it? Is this all just happening in his head? Is this all just manifestation, or is this due to something that Lady Eve pumped into his body?
Mm.
Is that what brought him back? Is he a zombie? Does he
See,
have powers now?
see,
Mm.
again, it would be really cool if he was a zombie. And given the fact that they talked about 75 million times about the grinding up, the bones of people organism, like, so you get the impression that there's they're going to go into some, like, some of the history of I would guess, how do I say this? Like the superstitions and mythologies, or like the religious customs of the diaspora, right? So we know that zombies had its origin. It's part of the diaspora. And again, that's another area where I think they could be really clever about that. But again, I get nervous because it's on the CW.
Yeah.
Also, they have 5 episodes left, so
I mean, there's just a lot there, but I want to know more specifically about this storyline. It really, really creeped me out. That that shower scene. It really creeped me out because I don't know what it means. He leaned in. I don't
Yeah.
know what that was about. Like, does he feel like, he came back from the dead? Does he feel like she's the only one he can connect to?
you know the first thing that popped into my head, and I know this probably isn't even remotely true, but it's like maybe LaWanda's daughter's father, the father of LaWanda's daughter, was Lala somehow, some way.
No, sir.
No, no.
That I'm just saying that was the first thing that popped in my head. I discounted it, but that was the first thing that popped in my head, though.
Because I just don't. You
It,
definitely got the feeling when she confronted him that obviously he knew her, but they all went. This town seems to be pretty small, and they all went to the same school. So I definitely feel like he knows her,
well, yeah,
but it didn't feel like they had like a romantic connection. So if they tried to make it so now, it would just feel like they threw that in kind of out of nowhere.
And it was just creepy to me.
Yeah, it's like if this person is a manifestation of your guilt, then why are you trying to kiss her, dude?
Right.
This is awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's like the first, well, not the first, because we also had that scene with Anissa and her girlfriend, but it's like we haven't had a lot of sexy scenes in this show. Why you
Oh,
gotta make this awkward one? So awkward.
can we just say that I died when she was like, "You killed me for putting a camera in your face"? Like, I told your ass to go home.
I I am lightweight, really, really glad that Lala's back.
Really?
I told your ass to go home.
Because
You
he's
think
just so
go
extra.
home? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
after they killed him, I was like, I don't really need to see him again, because it
No, when
ended up
he died,
being way
it was so, it was like grand opening, grand closing. I didn't know we were, like, I thought we were going to get more when he died. I like
Yeah, I mean,
him.
it makes sense, but I mean, once we got like Lady Eve and Tobias, I was like, yeah, I could do without Latavius.
And that's the thing too, is this show so far has always, when one villain dies, we kind of get a bigger boss. Or, like when one villain goes away, we get a bigger villain. So clearly, Latavius has come back from the dead with something.
Yeah.
Do we think it's possible that he's stronger than Tobias now?
Mm, We'll see.
Cause like that's kind of the fight that we like. Yeah, like what happens when he reveals himself to Tobias?
Got your shitting pants on?
I'm like, do they duke it out? What? Because he was the lower guy on the totem pole, but now he's back from the dead. Like who knows?
But you know he want to put his hands on Tobias.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what he can do right now.
Exactly.
That don't mean he can shoot. He not no problems with his aim.
Yeah, but I suspect that.
I'm not saying that's what we want to see. I'm saying if it's in his mind, he hasn't figured out if he has powers yet. His mind might be like, I may not be able to take you physically, but I can shoot your ass. You ain't bulletproof.
And then again, is LaWanda just in his mind, or is she something?
Don't know.
I
Yeah.
guess I'm kind of scared that about them introducing anything mystical. So I'm really hoping that it's just mind playing tricks on him.
I think that
In a world with reanimated zombies, you're afraid of mysticism?
Okay, let me rephrase that.
no, also, I think that should
I
be
don't want I'm kind of afraid of how they will deal with the mysticism on this show.
Okay, that's better. Just like, but sir,
On this show.
But again, I think that ship has sailed. I mean, you know, just looking at Lady Eve's character and the things that she's talked about,
and the things she was doing.
the things she was doing, I think that ship has sailed.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get into some sort of hoodoo. And
Hoodoo.
yeah, I mean,
The views of Paris should not represent the views of the
no, I'm just saying. That's the thing that bothers me, right? So the fact that it's the CW, and then I'm just worried that this will become like really like a stereotypical representation of things that some people, you know, hold really dear to them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't.
Not to drag the whole show down, but
Yeah,
like those
yeah.
are things that are going through my mind as I watch this unfold.
Yeah, I think it's a legit concern because CW, but this show is so frustrating in that way that it seems to sometimes recognize those CW traps and walk around them, and then it sometimes seems to fall directly into them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know. Like, I don't know if they're going to do a way more nuanced story and bring in these elements, or if they're just going to go just straight CW.
I'm just saying, like, if you get into the spirituality aspect, that's a tightrope.
Yeah, I mean, there's the spirituality aspect with, this zombie Lady Eve, whatever was happening in that mortuary situation. But then there's also this great opportunity to do this kind of Tuskegee experiment, police brutality, drugs in the community story as well.
Which I think is the better angle. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a more comfortable angle for me. And I think that there's a chance for them to really do something, I think, important. Again, we come up against this is on CW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't know. Anything else about Latavius?
No, let's get into Jennifer. It's getting late.
All right. Jennifer, I mean, her story is just really, really simple. She's out here with some new braids, and I really like her braids. And she's hanging out with that girl again, and homegirl is running for class treasurer.
Yeah.
And she's climbing up on this scaffolding because she's dumb. She's climbing up on this scaffolding to put up her poster because she wants to put it higher so nobody will rip it down. and Jennifer tells her not to do it. She slips. Jennifer gets freaked out, and her powers manifest. And then she hides it from her friend. And then later she tries it again in her bedroom. And I can't how was she able to trigger it in her bedroom?
I don't know about that, but backing up, so basically she fried her phone,
Yeah.
and burned the posters.
Mm-hmm. But when she was trying it, like, to make it happen, because you know how Anissa's thing is her breath?
She just seemed to be concentrating really hard.
Okay. So it
She didn't do
wasn't
it
like anything.
special.
Yeah. And it wasn't anything that made her scared or anything like the first time. So she's able to manifest her powers again, and she realizes that something's going on. She goes to talk to Anissa. And earlier in the episode, they do say that she's feeling disconnected from Anissa and her dad because she can tell that they have a secret, but she doesn't know what it is. And then she goes and tells Anissa about what's going on with her. And Anissa's face is basically like, oh shit. So I had a theory while watching this.
Okay.
We said that, well, why didn't they ever think of the girls having powers since Jefferson has powers? And what we initially thought was maybe his powers started to manifest at a certain age or at a certain point in his life. And now I'm wondering if Anissa and Jennifer's powers have manifested because Jefferson started using his powers again. Because it doesn't seem to be related to their age.
Well, if that were the case, though, wouldn't they have manifested themselves a lot earlier?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, if maybe it might have something to do with like puberty or pubescence, but then I'm wondering if maybe it didn't happen for Anissa because Jefferson had stopped using his powers.
I think there are two questions here, right? So why haven't their powers manifested up to this point? Mm-hmm. And then why didn't anyone suspect that they would have powers? And I think those are two different questions. Mm-hmm. And perhaps the reason why no one suspected it is maybe no one knew it would be hereditary.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for why it's just manifesting now, but I could imagine that if you're giving someone a serum, that it's possible for the serum to affect them, but not necessarily affect their offspring.
Definitely, and that's why I'm wondering if they didn't suspect it, possibly because maybe Jefferson's kind of manifested themselves when he was like younger, and then because the girls didn't, they were like, oh, cool. Like, they don't have powers. But maybe they didn't because Jefferson wasn't using his powers.
The other thing is that I'm led to believe from what Gambi said that, Gambi was protecting Jefferson, and I got the impression that Jefferson was one of the few kids that kind of escaped oversight.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe the other subjects were, disposed of or dissected or whatever before they could reproduce. And so there's no way of knowing whether it's hereditary or not because you haven't tried that experiment.
That's why... go ahead.
I'm going to disagree with that because, okay, so Gambi is taking care of Jefferson out of some, at least that's what he's out of some, because of his relationship with Jefferson's father. So I would think that that they're keeping really good records on who they're giving this, this serum to, and I would think that they would have realized, or they would have used it against his father, that we gave your son this serum if you don't start, writing better stuff about us or about Tobias or whatever, that, they could use it as blackmail. So I
My only response to that is if you had a 7'11", Negro with a beard shooting lightning out of his hands,
Why you gotta be all that
why would you knock on the door of the 7'11" Negro in your in that town that you've given this serum to?
Yeah, I think Jefferson somehow managed to escape being noticed, and so then I'm wondering how he was a part of this, or if he was a part of this study or
experiment.
whatever, or experiment. It's quite
maybe
possible
they
that
give
he
it as like a
wasn't.
or maybe they gave it as like a flu vaccine at like the school or something.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
possible, but it's also possible that he wasn't a part of it. It's possible that his powers come from a different place.
true.
Possible.
Because, yeah, it seems weird that they don't know. Because they very clearly know that Tobias is one of theirs.
Right.
So,
I mean, there are a whole host of reasons why Jefferson may not be on their radar.
mm-hmm.
But I'm convinced that he's not on their radar because they
Yeah.
would have knocked down his door by now.
After all, the guy at the beginning was like, you were supposed to find out who Black Lightning was and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So Gambi clearly, one, obviously knows who Black Lightning is, and two, hasn't told anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also he's 7'11", apparently. So,
Right. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's true. They would have kicked down Gambi's door by now.
Mm-hmm. Are you hanging with the dude?
and even though it's messed up and I loved her, it's clear that Lady E was figuring out that Gambi knew who Black Lightning was
It was protecting them.
and was protecting him. So it's a good thing she's out of the way. So, yeah, I'm just wondering if like if Jefferson's powers manifested when he was like 15 or something like that, and then if Anissa hit 15 and nothing happened, and like Jennifer is like 16 and nothing happened, maybe they just assumed that they were never going to get powers. But then he started using his powers, and then their powers manifested. I just don't know.
That's interesting. That's an interesting. Because then that would mean that their powers are like that. There's some sort of like a hive nature to their powers.
It just feels like, but I think it's because I'm thinking of shows like Buffy and stuff like that, where it's like it's a hellmouth, or it's like, there's magic, and once as the magic becomes stronger, everyone's powers start to become strong. Like I feel like it's always that kind of situation. So that's what made me think of it.
Okay, so if they decide to give Anissa's girlfriend powers as they do in the comic, then however they explain this, hopefully it stays consistent for her.
We don't know. We don't know if they do decide to have her have powers. We don't know if it's going to be one of these green light situations, or it could be something completely different. Right now, it seems, other than the people like Tobias who were a part of this experiment, it seems like there may be more than one way to get powers. We just don't know.
Perhaps.
Yeah, it's still so.
I think we
iffy.
already, if Black Lightning is a part of the larger kind of DC universe, then we know that there are multiple ways to get to become a human.
Yeah.
So the comment, we got one from Sherrod B. All the tea was spilled and then some. Rest in peace to the villain Lady E. Gambi gonna die. You just completely butchered his name, called him Giambi. His real name is Peter. Anyway, gonna die. Lynn was right, confronting him. Sad no Tobias this episode. Did enjoy Jeff and Anissa training. Jennifer's power finally manifests, but lame for them to do it.
Lame way.
To do so. And that zombie Lala with LaWanda ghost some creepy-ish. All I will say about that.
I did think Jennifer's power manifesting was kind of lame. But maybe it's also because I don't care for that little girl, the friend. I was like, really? You care that much that manifested your powers? You ain't do nothing when Khalil got shot.
But they didn't even attempt to explain how the posters got burned.
Yeah, I was like, isn't she gonna get mad when y'all go to hang some more posters and her posters are all burnt up? How did she not notice that?
Right, like how did that happen?
Well, see, I just thought they were going to use so somehow my phone blew up and it was on the posters. There was an easy explanation that could have been used. It would have been, I guess, kind of shaky a little bit, but it's one that is at least remotely believable that they didn't even attempt to try to use it. So I was like,
Well,
okay.
I thought they were gonna make a joke about the Samsung phones blowing up
Yeah,
when her
yeah.
phone blew up.
Hmm.
They didn't even do that. And she was just like, "Oh, girl, you drop your phone so you can get a new one." I was like, "This is why I don't like you." Like that little girl. She's so clueless. I can't stand her.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Apparently, it's just me. I'm the only one that don't like this little girl.
Okay. Uh, did it surprise anyone when Jennifer revealed that she was applying to Harvard?
No.
No, because
For some reason,
they've always
surprised me.
they've portrayed her from the beginning of the series as a very brilliant young girl. So no, it wasn't surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It didn't surprise me at all.
Okay. I don't know. She's brilliant, yes, but just I don't know. She just
Coming from somebody
not driven.
I no. I don't think. I think she hasn't been because of the things going on, but I think you definitely got the sense from the beginning. Like that's why they were calling her the queen of the school and everything, good grades, track team, like all that.
And let's talk about her not being driven. In episode 1, she was kidnapped and almost forced into sex slavery. And then since then, some little asshole came and threatened her. And then her boyfriend was crippled at a march where she was shot at. If she's a little less than motivated, I think that's okay.
Yeah. And she reminds me of my friend's daughter who kind of like similarly had like a really like went through a lot her junior year of high school and went from being like star to just going through a really rough time. And there was definitely a moment where we got concerned and we were like, girl, like this is your most important year. Like we know stuff has been hard, but you have to pull it together. And she did. So I think it's just more that kind of situation where she has been, but just recent stuff has made her less so.
But even, I mean, the trauma aside, I mean, and she has gone through a lot of traumatic stuff. There is such thing as like somebody being so bright that they're bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
And people who are bored find things to occupy themselves with, even if they're not the most productive things. So, I mean, that just doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Do we want to just quickly mention there was a announcement? I rolled my eyes as I said it. You guys can't see me. There was an announcement that Ava DuVernay may be directing a DC film, New Gods. Yeah, that's a thing apparently.
She confirmed it apparently on Twitter.
She did.
Shout out to Jack Kirby.
Okay.
So.
All right. How do we feel about that?
Meh. Fake news. Check Snopes next.
Okay, so we all know Ava is a really smart person. And we know that Ava doesn't take on a project unless, she feels like it's a project for her and it's something that she can put herself, fully into. So I have no doubt in my mind that she found something that was appealing about this project. And I have no doubt in my mind that DC Films thinks that they're winning with Ava. As I said on Twitter, DC has a habit of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. You know, kind of like how they could have a movie with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman that doesn't make as much money as Black Panther. I mean, let's be real. Like, we all know Black Panther now, but Black Panther wasn't exactly an A-list hero. And he outsold the Justice League. In no reality should that ever be a possibility. So WBDC has a habit of screwing the pooch, and I'm just nervous about this.
Yeah, like you said, Ava, love her, trust her. I loved A Wrinkle in Time. My review coming soon on that. So, and I don't think she takes anything that she doesn't think that she can do and execute and make amazing. I just don't trust anything from the WB right now, and like in DC, and the way they announce things, it's just not realistic. It just doesn't feel realistic.
It feels like
You think she put in a call to what's his name? Rick. How do you pronounce his last name? The dude that was directing Flash, but ain't anymore.
Oh, Fumiyawa.
Fumiyawa. Yeah. Think she put in a call to him before she took this?
I feel like no, because I feel like had she put in a call to him, he would have told her no.
Oh yeah, because he was shouting out Black Panther, and everybody was like, "Yeah, that was totally pettiness for Disney. I mean, for DC."
Well, not just shouting out Black Panther, but he was shouting out Black Panther, and then come to find out now he has a deal with Marvel.
I don't think that's with Marvel. It's with Netflix, but he's working with the Russo brothers.
Isn't it a Marvel property? I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. What I do know is that it's definitely an upgrade. It's through Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Keanu Reeves and the executive producers are the Russo brothers,
okay,
who of course are a staple with the Marvel movies. So it's like it's
a superhero. It is a superhero.
Yeah,
thing. It's just an original superhero thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then the whole thing so the thing about DC announcements is that, like, I really feel like they're crowdsourcing their ideas. Like, they make these announcements and they float them out on Twitter or they leak them to the media and I think they really do it just to see what our reaction is going to be, because they make a whole lot of announcements and they never materialize into actual movies.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I feel like that was what happened with the what was the one that came, Deadpool. I feel like that's what happened with Deadpool, but I feel like that was strategic. I feel like they leaked that idea of a Deadpool film and Ryan Reynolds to get the studio to see how viable it was.
That's exactly what happened, because the studio didn't make that move.
Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's different from like what DC does. Is DC's like, let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see how the world reacts, and maybe we'll make it, maybe we'll try. And it's clear they have no idea, no direction, nothing. Like the fact that Joss Whedon was like, yeah, I sat on Batgirl for a year and I didn't have a story, and now I'm walking away. Why are you announcing a Joss Whedon Batgirl thing if you don't have a story? And that's what, again, I think Ava's different. I think she wouldn't sign on for anything that she didn't have a story for, that she didn't have an idea for, that she wasn't ready to execute. I just don't know if they'll let her do it.
Yeah, I just don't know if they're going to... I don't know if they're going to execute. Here's the other thing. So they brought in Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman, and they screwed her over with the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I just don't know if I don't know if DC or WB is behind this 100%. And again, and you come off, when you say stuff like that, you come off as like the naysayer, or you come off like you have an axe to grind against Ava. I want this to succeed.
Oh, we all want Ava to succeed. I called my mama. I told my mama she don't support black women because she didn't go see A Wrinkle in Time, and that's my mama.
I love
So,
The Wrinkle in Time.
like, so I
Oh,
want Ava to succeed always, but I just don't
ra-
trust it.
random question, and I have not seen the movie, but do they set up the movie for possibility for sequels?
Not really, but the original book isn't set up that way either.
Okay.
And I've never read any of
Yeah.
those books. I've heard that once you get past the first one, it really does kind of become problematic.
Yeah, I actually bought the hardcover trilogy from Barnes and Nobles that has the all three books in it. So I have it, and my plan is to continue to read the other two because I've never read the sequels to it. I started the beginning of one. I was like, it just started off very weird, so I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. But yeah, the way the original book ends is kind of like, you know, and they lived happily ever after. It doesn't really leave it open, like, and on to the next story. So I doubt that we'll get a Wrinkle in Time sequel, just because I mean we you never know, but I feel like the other books in the trilogy have never been as popular.
Yeah, I mean, again, I said all of this on Twitter. You know, it's not as though WB doesn't have a revolving door of directors. You know, we just talked about Rick Famuyiwa, in The Flash, and I understand that people might make that same claim about Lucasfilm, because I mean, I think anybody who knows me knows that I was really like, what I wanted her to do was a Star Wars movie. She unfortunately, you know, or I shouldn't say unfortunately, because she has agency and she does whatever the hell she wants. She said Star Wars wasn't for her. That broke my heart. But you know, people would also say, well, Lucasfilm has a revolving door of directors as well. Yeah, but the difference is Lucasfilm has a plan. You may not like the plan, but they have a plan, and they have an understanding going in of what their universe is going to be, and they kick these directors off because those directors can't get with the plan.
And the thing too is, I wouldn't even call what's happening at Lucasfilm a revolving door. They kicked off two directors who it sounded out like they were pretty problematic and didn't want to listen to the woman producer.
Right.
And they've done that once.
They have a plan. And if you can't get with the plan, you're gone. And I understand that. DC is not like that. DC, it seems like they just get rid of directors because they want to interfere, and the director doesn't want them to interfere. That's not having a plan. Yeah. That's just being meddlesome. And yeah, it's just I'm so nervous about this.
I guess my hope is, if this is going to happen, that it is not a DCEU film. It is a Ava DuVernay doing a DC film.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that, and again, I am not a DC person. I will say that to anybody. My understanding is Darkseid is associated with the New Gods, and it was pretty, like, if I recall correctly, they made a shout out to Darkseid in the Justice League.
You can't see my face. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay, Ava. Either way, we wish you the best. I'm saying this.
And
Like,
I'll be there opening weekend to see it. Come hell or high water, if it actually happens, I'll be there to see it. But will it happen?
We're horrible. All right. Thank you,
Oh, we're being
guys.
realistic. We're being realistic.
I know. It's just like we're horrible because we have no faith. Thank you guys so much. Next week, we'll be here again on Thursday. I will caution or say that I am going to WonderCon next weekend. So I'm going to try my best to have everything edited and out to you guys next week as soon as possible. But, you know, if it's a little, we'll record it. But if it's a little bit late, then I'm sorry. It's just because I will either be sleeping or on a plane.
So what is WonderCon?
WonderCon is the sister convention to San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of just like a little bit smaller. So, yeah, I definitely have some feelers out. I'm hoping to interview some good casts, but you know, we'll see. You never know. My new strategy is just replying back to emails like they've already said I'm in the room, and I'm just like, yeah, I want to confirm that I'll be there. Hopefully they just, I don't know, like my moxie or something. So I will definitely try and get it out to you guys as soon as possible. Thank you so much for listening. And we will also try and get up the feedback post a little bit earlier to give you guys some time to respond. So talk to you later. Thank you so much. Bye.
Them boys on your head like a Kango. I go everywhere you can go. Count so much money when my arms so weed so strong they can smell it in the Congo. Got Holly AOB in this bitch though. A name in your mouth, that's a kick though. Ring, 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 now that's a bankroll. Count right now, feel like I work the bridge toll. Run down cut with my doors up. Stunned on that wouldn't let me up. Now they out of luck, this ain't luck, bruh. Gon' let them do, gon' snap it up. The boys on your head like a Kango. I go everywhere you can go. Count so much money when my